Hey, welcome to this deep dive just for you. We're taking a look at some excerpts from Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, but specifically some of the interesting ladies he meets along the way. It's pretty funny stuff.
Yeah. Barron's encounters with women, they're definitely humorous, but they also, I think, offer him a chance to grow and learn about himself.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. We got to start with the queen of the transparent folk. She rules over the Sullenites.
Right. And the Sullenites, they're interesting. I mean, they're a people made entirely of glass, you know.
Like glass people?
Yeah, the author he uses this transparent society, I think, to really highlight the whole idea of emotional vulnerability. Like you can actually see the queen's heart literally because it's made of glass.
Oh, wow. So then Baron is really in a tricky situation with her because
Hmm.
she develops feelings for him, right away. And he has to be so careful not to, like, offend her.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great way to explore, tact and diplomacy. Barron's kind of used to privilege and getting his way, so he has to kind of shift gears and be more cautious because any wrong move could really hurt her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine having to, like, turn someone down for a date and knowing their heart might literally shatter? Yikes.
And it's not just the physical harm, he has to think about her feelings. It forces him to develop empathy, I think, which he probably didn't have much of before.
Right. It really makes you wonder if we've ever been in those types of delicate situations ourselves. Maybe not with a shattering heart, but, times when you have to be super careful with someone's feelings. I mean, we've all been there, right?
Definitely. It reminds us to be sensitive and aware, in any interaction, regardless of cultural differences and stuff.
So, okay, so we leave the Sullenites and we go from like a really delicate situation to the total opposite. We're going to the land of the tall folk, where he meets this giant maiden.
Right, and this is a completely different kind of challenge for Baron. It's not about fragility anymore. Now it's all about dealing with like overwhelming affection.
Yeah. She thinks he's like the cutest thing ever,
Yeah.
but her way of showing it is a bit much. She treats him like a little pet.
Right, like he's a tiny toy. It's kind of like well-meaning, but a little suffocating. Baron's not used to, feeling trapped. He's always been the one in control.
Yeah. There's this one part, I think, where he's like hiding from her. It's so funny. He's running around like a little mouse. It's a good way to show how different their sizes and perspectives are.
Right. The author uses this funny scenario to explore the idea of personal boundaries and how different people show they care. What might seem totally normal to one person could be, too much for someone else.
Yeah. And it shows how important it is to communicate, to really understand each other. Even when it seems like we're speaking different languages, I'm sure, I mean, everyone's been in that situation at some point, right? Where your way of caring was misunderstood.
It can be tough to find that right balance.
So we've got Baron dealing with two very different but equally challenging situations. He's learning about tact, diplomacy, personal space,
Right.
all through these like kind of awkward, kind of funny experiences.
It's really interesting how the author uses these two like totally opposite encounters. I think it highlights cultural sensitivity. Like Baron's journey it's almost like a crash course in, how to understand different cultures.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like with the transparent queen, he's got to be super careful about like what he says, and because her emotions are, literally right there for everyone to see. But then with the giant maiden, it's about understanding that she really does care for him, even if it comes across as a little, intense.
Yeah, exactly. He has to like keep changing his assumptions.
Well,
Well, how he acts depending on where he is.
right. Like there's no one right way to interact with everyone. Like what might seem charming in one place could be totally weird somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's so relevant to like our lives too. I mean, think about it. We live in such a global world. It's more important than ever to understand other people's perspectives.
Makes you think about like times when you've encountered those differences yourself, like traveling or even just, reading about other cultures. It could be hard, but it's also a chance to learn and grow, I think.
Absolutely. I think, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, it's obviously a fantasy,
Yeah.
but it does have those like valuable lessons about empathy and being open-minded.
Oh, totally. These encounters, they're funny, yeah. But they also tell us a lot about Baron himself, like how he changes. He starts out kind of entitled, you know, used to getting what he wants. But these situations, they kind of force him to see his own, limitations.
He learns to listen and to observe. He can't just like charm his way out of everything, he has to develop, new skills like patience and understanding and seeing things from other people's points of view.
Right? It's not easy for him. Like he messes up, he makes mistakes,
Mm.
but he learns from them.
Yeah, exactly. That's such an important point. It's not about being perfect, right? It's about being willing to, learn and grow and adapt to different situations.
It's like all these weird underground encounters are like stripping away his arrogance,
Yeah.
and we start to see him become like more humble, more caring.
Right. And that change is a big part of his journey. It's not just about the physical underground. It's emotional too. He's confronting his own, biases and how he sees the world.
So the book is funny and adventurous, but it's also about Baron growing as a person,
Yeah.
learning to deal with a world that's, complicated and full of surprises. He had like this crazy self-discovery trip disguised as like, a fantasy adventure.
And these encounters with these women, they might seem funny or awkward, but they're really important. I mean, they really push him to grow, out of his comfort zone, make him face his weaknesses.
It's true. Like with the transparent queen, he could actually, hurt her without meaning to. It's so different from his world where like his actions don't have those immediate consequences.
Right. He's used to being kind of removed.
Right.
But in this underground place, he has to be, present. Think about the impact of everything he does and says.
And then you've got the giant maiden.
Mm.
And that's like the opposite problem.
Yeah.
He's not in control anymore. He's the one who's small and kind of helpless at the mercy of all this affection.
Yeah, the author's really looking at, I think, the power dynamics between people. Baron's used to having privilege, but down here he can't always get his way. He has to, learn to adapt.
It's really cool how these encounters, they're lighthearted, but they touch on these big ideas, power, vulnerability, how important it is to see things from different angles.
And it's all woven into the story. So Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, it's more than just an adventure. It's about, becoming a better person, learning to handle a world that's full of challenges.
So we're wrapping up this deep dive, but we want to leave you with something to think about, like how have your own encounters with different people and cultures, how have those shaped you? What have you learned about empathy and understanding?
Yeah, because Baron's journey, it reminds us that we grow the most when we're, pushed out of our comfort zones, when we have to question what we think we know.
This was your deep dive, crafted just for you. See you next time. Keep exploring and keep an open mind.